Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Rosen, Senator Eaton. I rise in support of this bill as well. I've been out of the classroom now for 3 years, and I run into all my ex-students in their 20s, and I'm excited to hear about how the school went, whether they went to college or VOTAC, and how their careers are going, and how their love lives are progressing, and how they're building their families or buying their homes, and they're finally realizing the American dream that for so many years has been part of the American psyche. But for far too many of my ex-students, they've realized the American nightmare rather than the American dream because of the continual crisis called opiate addiction. When I first got elected to this stellar body, I ran into a family of ex-students. I asked them how their son was doing, and they looked at me and they started crying because he's got a sports injury when he was in high school. And one thing led to another, and they found him in a hotel room in Eden Prairie with a needle stuck in his arm, dead. I was at a funeral of a friend last spring, and ran into a mother of an ex-student. And she comes up to me and she goes, "Swad, how you doing?" And I looked at her because I didn't quite place her. And all of a sudden she told me who she was. And I asked her, "Oh my God, how's your daughter doing?" And she started crying because she had to tell me her daughter just died, again, of an opioid addiction. And last year in my office here in the state Senate, I had a meeting with a parent of an ex-student of mine who's a constituent, and she comes into my office and she sits down, she shows me a picture of her son. And I'm like, "Oh my God, how's he doing?" And she started crying and she said the St. Paul police found my son with a needle in his arm, slumped over in his car here in St. Paul. These are just 3 anecdotes, 3 stories of 3 families. All those families should be doing what all of us had the opportunity to do in our 20s, but unfortunately, they've lost that. They'll never be able to realize what we all want to accomplish in this brief thing called life. Senator Marty rose up and he said this bill's been a long time coming. I don't want to stand here in a year or 2 or years from now and tell more stories of this crisis. I hope today this puts a stop to the opioid crisis. Thank you, Mr. President.